Now we are stuck. Okay. I have a little bit of a tech issue happening because the stream was not connected. Okay. Today is the last day of our sourdough bake-a-thon. 100% excited for it because it's the last day. And today we're going to be making pumpkin cornbread. Okay. Am I a cornbread maker? No. But I'll do it for the sake of this experiment just to see what we can make and how we can make this delicious and all that good stuff. We are going to be using this little oven again. Simple, simple, simple. Now, the only thing is, I am questioning if I am going to hydrate my cornmeal, but I don't think so. It's just one of those. Okay. So, as usual, we're going to weigh out the ingredients. I like to start with having my, let me see. Yeah, we can. Just want to make sure. I like to start with my dried ingredients. Now, again, if it's going to be sourdough, we are going to be using this discard right here. It's Frederica. Okay. Also going to be using our homemade pumpkin puree. We made a dent this week. We're down to half of a mason jar. Okay, so I will be giving you the weight that I'm using and the cup equivalent. So give or take. So first things first, we're gonna mix up our dry ingredients. I'm also gonna add some spices. It's gonna be beautiful with a bunch of different spices, if I'm gonna be honest. So I'm just gonna get that together. Just so we have, we have some depth happening with our neighbors. It's just something that I think. Okay, so first things first, we have our okay flour. We're gonna be using uh 80 grams. I don't even need this big bowl. No, I have cornmeal. We're gonna be so we're gonna be using about 80 grams of all-purpose flour. Again, it's all-purpose. It is not baking. Baking. It's not bread flour. Okay, so 80 grams of flour is going to be about 2/3 cup, roughly. This is not a lot of flour in this. However, if you take into account the flour content of your starter or your discard, it should balance out. So we have 80 grams of flour, which is 2/3, roughly, cup of flour. We're gonna add some baking soda. Now, again, if you're new to me, baking soda, I use it for everything that's not bread because it actually gives it a nice rise. It does not make your product gummy. It just helps the overall end product. It helps the sourdough discard to rise a little. Because if you don't actually use the baking soda, you will have to let it sit on the counter and ferment for a little bit in order to get the achieved height and lightness for your product. So we're going to be using about half teaspoon of baking soda. We're also going to be adding in half teaspoon salt. Now, salt is one of those things, depending on your flour. You either want to up it or keep it lower. I'm not sure. You're not sure what you're using. But half teaspoon is a good base for you for your salt. So this is salt, flour, and baking soda. And we're also going to add in our cornmeal. So the cornmeal I'm using, I think this is the fine cornmeal. It's yellow. It's simple. We're gonna be using 120 grams. 120 grams of cornmeal. That is about 3/4 cups. Now again, I am not a cornbread maker, but I'm here for the experiment. I like experimenting, so this is definitely so 120, and this is my first time making this, so almost everything that I've made this month, my first time making it, especially with the ingredients. And I say that to say anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. Okay, so we're just gonna mix this in just so that everything is evenly distributed. I am gonna add spices, but I'm gonna add my spices to my wet mixture. It just brings out more flavor that way, I find. But if you wanna add your spices to your flour, you can do that. Just think that once it's in with all the wet ingredients, it relaxes, gets absorbed into everything else, and more flavors released. That's your flour, cornmeal, baking soda, and salt mixture. The next thing we're gonna do is get our wet mixture together. The only thing I'm iffy on is the milk content, but I'm gonna see how the product looks prior to adding an additional liquid, and then we can go from there. So this is how much discard we've used so far for the bake-a-thon, which is a lot. So this is what we're using. Just pulled it out the fridge, not at room temperature, very cold, but also very active. Okay, you can see by the structure right there, it's super active. So we're gonna add 200 grams of discard. Now I know I always tell you to be careful. Make sure you actually measure the discard to the right amount because too much will affect your actual end product. Not enough will also affect. It'll be gummy if it's too much. If it's not enough, you might get the same gummy texture, but it will definitely be dense, especially if it's too much. I've done it both ways where I'm like, "Huh, sure." It can work that way with sourdough, I find. Or maybe it does, and I just haven't found my sweet spot of knowing how it works. Okay, so that is about 202 grams. 2 grams is not going to kill me. But if you go over like 10, 15 grams, it might change the consistency of your actual. Just keep that in mind when you are cooking your discard. Some people's discard might be watery, like more liquidy. Mine's firm. Mine's always been firm. Even in the fridge, firm. Take it out, room temp, firm. Still firm. Okay, so that's 200 grams of discard, which comes out to be about 3/4 cups. Uh, Discard. Okay, let me just get my these things. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna add in our puree. Again, this is the homemade puree I made on live stream. It is not liquidy. You don't see any liquid falling out. So when you do make it, just follow my steps. Make sure you drain as much of the pumpkin water out as possible, and you'll get a good puree. So we're gonna add 180 grams of puree into your discard. 180 grams. I think it's a good number to get the pumpkin flavor coming through, along with a nice color for the pumpkin. Right? So that is 180 grams. Here, you're also going to add your sugar, even though it's not a wet ingredient. Once you add it, you add your sugar. It will also loosen the batter if your batter is thick, because there is moisture content in sugar as well. So I'm gonna mix this just to show you. Again, my discard is cold, as well as my computer. We're just gonna mix this together. Now you can dump everything in terms of your discard, your puree, your butter, your sugar, your spices, and your milk. But I like doing it in stages just so that I'm able to assess the batter to ensure I'm not actually adding too much of anything. It's just a good practice to have because you really want to see the different textures at different stages so that if on one day that you're super busy but you want to just put everything together, you know what to look for. It's just it's a rule that I actually have for myself just to ensure that I can see. So right now we have kind of like a pancake consistency. As you let it sit, it will thicken up. Okay, so we're gonna add some brown sugar. Today I am gonna be using demerara, which is like dark and heavy. I'm gonna be using that sugar. We're gonna add about 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. This brown sugar is about 15 grams, roughly. So 3 tablespoons of the sugar right here is giving me 47 grams. Don't ask me why, but that's what it gave me, and that's what I'm using. So 3 tablespoons or 47 grams if you want to make this the exact same. Okay, you're also gonna add some flavor if you want. I am adding vanilla. Need to re-up. This is also homemade vanilla. Clearly, my cornbread is on the sweet side, not savory. You don't have to, because I don't think you actually include vanilla in cornbread, but I am. My okay, this is not quite full tablespoon, more like a teaspoon, which is fine. I do have to make some more vanilla extract, but that's okay. So I'm just, if you see seeds right here, I'm just taking a spoon just to actually get them out, because that's where all the flavor is. Again, this is optional. You do not need to add vanilla. I'm adding it because I want. We also have melted butter, and we're also going to add maple syrup. Okay. For the melted butter, I'm using salted butter. Put half teaspoon of salt in this. And now I'm going to use salted butter as well. For the maple syrup, it is going to give you a little more depth of flavor because why not? Anything that gives you good flavor profile, you should. Now, if you don't have maple syrup, it's 1 tablespoon. Honestly, you can try honey, but you can also try molasses. Molasses will give you something nice as well. Use what you have. If you don't have maple syrup, don't worry about it. It's just flavor. That's okay. For melted butter, we need 45 grams. So anything between 45 and 50 grams is okay. If you don't want to butcher your butter. That is 22 grams. That is 36 grams. That is 38. This right here is 42. This will bring us a little over 45. So that right there is 47 grams. But we need 45 grams of butter. And that will equal out to about 3 tablespoons. I am going to melt this. So we're going to add it in. While the butter is melting, we are going to just mix this in. As you can see, this is the consistency right now. And we're going to mix in the sugar, the maple syrup, the vanilla, and you see it's getting a little bit more buttery. The sugar actually loosens texture, maple syrup as well, along with the vanilla. It's just added liquid. So this is now your consistency. It's runny. That's what we're looking for. Smell wise, smells amazing. So you just have to pay attention to your senses. There's no spice in here, so all you're smelling is the sourdough, you're smelling the pumpkin and the vanilla, but you will get a smell, which is nice. A nice aroma. Okay, we're gonna add the melted butter, and again, it's 45 grams, or about 3 tablespoons. So we're gonna add it in. This is melted butter, and it's also salted butter. But anytime I use salted butter, I still include salt in it. It's just what I do. Okay, so this is thickening up with the butter being added. Still a bit loose. Not as loose as it was. You can see it's thickening and it smells amazing. This is the only time you get to actually play with your dough, because once you add the flour, kind of just have to pan it, bake it, and get it out of the way. Okay, we are now going to add our spices here. I'm going to be using a mixture like I've been all week. We're going to use some fresh nutmeg. Hey, T, thanks for joining. We're going to use some fresh nutmeg. This is going to be about a quarter teaspoon. Not a lot. Just enough to get some, you know, flavor. If you have a pumpkin spice mix, you can use 1 teaspoon of it. I actually don't have a pumpkin spice mix. I just make it as I go. If you only want to use cinnamon, you can only use cinnamon, then use cinnamon. Just one of those things. We're gonna add an 1/8 teaspoon of cloves, not even a full eighth, maybe like a little half a share. That's cloves. If you want to use cardamom, you can. I'm also gonna add some ginger again. Ginger is closer to about a quarter teaspoon. Now, if you have fresh ginger, now would be the time to use it. Just add it. The juices are gonna give you a really amazing flavor profile. But sometimes I feel like sometimes that's what we want in the product. Form. Also gonna add just a little bit of I clove, allspice. Just mess around with allspice. Okay, we're gonna add that, and then the last thing we're gonna add is going to be our cinnamon. You already know cinnamon, 1 teaspoon, half teaspoon. Use it. Got the fresh one, use the fresh one. That is also fine. No issues there. But this is the last day of our sourdough bake-a-thon, which honestly, it's been fun this month. We haven't had many issues. We've had some, but not a lot. But most things came out really well. So we're gonna mix all the spices together. Most of our products came out well. We will have a pumpkin flatbread, but it's been good. And next month we're back here again, which is what we do every month. Okay, so this is your batter. It's thickened in. It's smelling nice and flavorful. Also, no liquid in here. Yes. Okay. For the liquid, I am gonna start out with about 80 grams of milk, and I'm gonna be using canned milk. So, what I like to do, no, there we go. I like to dilute this milk with a little bit of water because sometimes it's a bit too rich for me. So that's what I like to do. We're gonna use the same container that had the butter just to make it easy. So we're starting with 80 grams. So this is about 30 grams of milk. And then we're gonna add the remainder with water to equal this. It's just something that I do. I like the flavor that comes from canned milk versus uh, milk in a carton or in a bag. We have milk in a bag over here. So it's just something I personally like. Now I still have some maple syrup and some vanilla bean on here. Just gonna mix this in just so that I get everything and we'll be fine. So again, it's between 80 to 100 grams milk. I'm starting out with 80 because I don't think we need the 400. Well, we might. And we absolutely might. So this is our milk. So we're gonna add that in. Why do we have all the vanilla bean just hanging out everywhere except in the actual bowl? Okay, so I am gonna add my milk now. For the best. We're just gonna hope for the best. Okay. Because essentially, I'm thinking my end batter, my cornmeal and my flour mixed in, is supposed to give us a muffin type texture in terms of before it's baked. So right now, this is everything mixed in. We have our wet ingredients, which is the discard, maple syrup, butter, milk, spices, what else? Brown sugars in here, pumpkin puree, fun, salt, baking soda, cornmeal, all-purpose flour. Now, I am going to and we are going to prep our baking pan because once the flour comes in contact with the wet ingredients, the baking soda, the discard, they're going to start reacting, right? Nothing's wrong with that, but I don't want it to linger too much. Okay. Now, We are gonna brush this with butter. I think yes. I'm gonna melt some butter. Just soften some, not completely melt it and brush it with butter so it doesn't stick. But if you don't want to do all of that, honestly, put a parchment paper in. Bake it in a parchment paper. If you have a skillet, bake it in a skillet. But you still have to oil the skillet. You use what you have. If you have one of those baking sprays, use your spray. Not an issue. Spray is fine. Use whatever works for you. I use butter. So I'm gonna soften this butter just a little, and then we're gonna brush it, and then we're gonna combine it and mix it. Now the time that it's gonna stay here is just enough for our oven to heat up, and then we can put it in and watch it grow. Because I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I never know how things are gonna turn out until they turn out. I have an idea, but I don't always know. Okay, so we're just gonna brush this with some butter. We're just gonna do that. You can use an 8x8. You can use a flat 9x9. You can use whatever you have. You can use those little baking trays. Those, if I have batter left over, I'll just put it in. I think you can use anything you want. I personally don't think that because you're baking a specific thing, you have to bake it in a specific container. Yours. If you actually wanted to turn these into muffins, why not? And the pans that I was referring to are the loaf pans. You could turn this, you could bake this into a loaf pan. Or just use what you have. Don't feel bad about it. That's really what I want. Because it'll still be your product. It'll just be presented. Okay, butter in pan, done. Now, what I was thinking that I'm going to be doing is mixing some softened butter with maple syrup together and brushing it. Then we're gonna mix up. So again, this is our ingredients plus sugar, and this is our dry ingredients minus spices. Spices are in here. Okay. So we're gonna add. I hope for the best. Now you don't want to overmix. You kind of just want to mix so that your cornmeal and your flour and like I think that milk amount is just right. This looks like a muffin batter. You don't want it to be a pancake or a cake. Cake batters are tend to be a little looser than muffin batters, and they're a bit firmer than pancake batters. It's weird. That's usually how it is. I'm just trying to go in just to examine to make sure most of the flour is we have no issues. And this is it. This is what your batter looks like. You can scoop this if you had a cookie scoop to make muffins. You can bake it, like I said, in a loaf pan, bake it in a skillet. On so now we're just gonna add this to our baking pan. I love like a one bowl mix up. I do. I like easy bakes. I also like complex bakes. But that's when I'm doing like my full blown Dexter's laboratory thing. Like a full blown experimenting. I gotta figure it out. If you see any white spots, that's just your flour. It will eventually absorb itself, but just lightly. Don't overmix. Don't mix like you're mixing, like you're whisking eggs. Just light. Mix it and then just add it to your baking dish. Here you can use an offset spatula. You can use the bottom of the spoon. You can even use what you're using right now, the spatula here, to just bring it in, push it so we have even baking. To me, this means my cornbread is going to have decent height. That also depends on how you bake it. If you bake it in something a lot lower, I think this is about 2 inches. That's as far as it's gonna, because that not just means your container, your baking pan is wider. Unless you have those special baking pans with height, hogs you want to call it, or it's called product. It all depends on the pan that you have. I do have a smaller offset spatula, not this one, but you can also use this one. You kind of just want to, you want it to be even because when it bakes, sometimes they do whatever they want to do. This was a metal pan. Top it, definitely release air bubbles, but this is if you want to do that. You can also add a cake, also spin multiple times. Now just kind of levels itself out. You just want to make sure most of it is leveled, bakes, melts out, but it may bake up in the middle if it's puckered. Like it'll do whatever it wants to do. So you want to make sure you give it its best shot, right? That's the thing I suggest. A spoon, spatula, whatever. Anything that you have to make it. Now, because I'm extra, I'm sprinkling cinnamon sugar if I still have. Yeah. So I'm gonna sprinkle it with some cinnamon sugar, and then halfway through baking, I am going to brush it with some maple butter. Let it soak in. If you had coarse sugar, you can add that. It'll just give it. It's just texture. Some people like smooth cornbread. Not a cornbread connoisseur, so I eat it however I want. I make it however I should say. This is just giving it added color. It's gonna help with the crunch factor because maybe I want this to be nice and toasty. It's anything. It's yours to be created, and you just do what you gotta do. That's it. If you didn't want cinnamon sugar and you wanted some other spice, do it. Okay, so we're gonna bake this out because one needs to be baked now because I gotta go class. Class right to this. Okay, so cinnamon sugar check done. All good. We are gonna set up our oven, and you guys are gonna get a good bird's eye view of how this is gonna bake. Okay, so the little oven that we're using, the brand is Bormia, in case anyone wanted to know. Bakes very well, I find. Even things are just beautiful in here. It tastes better than my big oven, that's for sure. Even heat distribution is what I'm looking for. So we're just gonna adjust this a little. So we're gonna bake this at 400. I'm gonna preheat the oven using the bake feature. This is a convection oven as well, air fryer as well. Uh, I'm gonna use I'm gonna use the bake feature, and we're gonna bake it anywhere between 20, 25 to 30 minutes. Anywhere in between that is the sweet spot. 400, we're gonna preheat, and then we're gonna. So this is what our cornbread is looking like. I know this is gonna have some height, serious height, but I also feel like it's gonna be nice and fluffy. Even if it doesn't get significantly higher, it might, right? It might come up. It doesn't matter. It's still gonna be delicious. Don't think it's about that. It's still gonna be good. Okay, so we're preheating. Just gonna add some water into the container, and then it should be done. And once this is done, I know I'm gonna be eating this for breakfast because why not? So we are coming down to the end of our bake-a-thon for October. I'm super happy that everything, everything was nice and tasty. Everything looked good, smelled delicious. Pumpkin, I love pumpkin, so I'm okay with this. So we're gonna let this run its course. The oven is heating up. We are gonna bake at 400 for 20 to 30 minutes, depending on what this cornbread decides to do. But again, this was voted for, and that's what we're doing. All I can do. Once you vote for it, that's it. You got it. I think it's a good way to get our juices flowing. Creative juices, create whatever we can using sourdough. That's pretty much what we do. Now I'm looking at the poll, and it seems like 33% want anything fall vibes. 67% said mixture of everything. So that's doable. Have a good time. That's not an issue. So we'll be good. I'm excited. Because I'm not really a cornbread person. I know some people like actually put corn in their cornbread, the juice of the corn in their cornbread, honey in the cornbread. Like it's weird. Like there's so many different ways that you can make a cornbread. I don't know what is the true authentic way. Because when you think about like back in the day, did they even have access to honey like that? Maybe they did. But what about butter? What did they use? Lard? That's what I'm thinking about. I would love to make a true authentic. Why is my glass smudge? Needs to be nice. Cornbread, but yeah, we're gonna do some cleaning of the glass because we cannot have it smudged. We need to have a good view. But I do love these bake-a-thons. I know I say every video, we live stream because it helps me become creative, helps me, it helps me just, understand something because I was running from sourdough for so long. So our oven is ready, and we are going to put our product in. It is at 300. No, it is at 400. Wait, this way. I think that's better. It is at 400, and we're gonna make it work. Yeah, 400. 400. So between 20 and 30 minutes, that's what we're gonna have. Now I am going to soften up some butter, mix it in with a little maple syrup, and then halfway through, not even halfway, almost close to finish, finish, yeah. We're gonna brush it with this little maple syrup butter blend because what? Can you imagine that being soaked in while it's nice and warm? Yes, I am making a sweet cornbread for sure. Absolutely. A sweet cornbread. I think the only thing savory we've made so far is the actually two. We made biscuits and bread. And what I like about these is that they're not overly sweet. That is what's really important. I'm old. I can't do sweet. Like a little piece of a chocolate bar is good enough for me. But they're not overly sweet. They're very flavorful. You get all the different spice elements. You get everything. And I think that's what's really important when you're making something is that what are you trying to achieve? What's your flavor profile? I always decide that before I bake. Before I bake, I decide what is it? What's my desired outcome, flavor wise? I have a book that helps me with combinations. So it'll say this spice goes with this fruit, goes with this vegetable, goes with this baked product, this sugar. Like it breaks it down to a T. So I like to plan my flavor profiles before I do it. It just makes it easier. You understand what is going to be your outcome, and you just work. You work with it. I mean, before yesterday, not even yesterday, before this month, you would have never told me that pumpkin and cheese go together, and I would have believed you. Because in what world do you have pumpkin and cheese together? When you make pumpkin soup, maybe you have the cheese on your toast, but you don't ever really think about pumpkin going with cheese. And then we made the pumpkin biscuits with cheese, right? But sometimes a book can tell you, I can tell you, somebody can say, yeah, I can do this. But most of the time, it's trial and error. You just have to actually decide, listen, I'm going to do it. Cut your losses for the ingredients cost, and you're going to test it. Now, I have some butter, did not measure it. Added some maple syrup, added some salt. The salt is going to be used to actually just enhance the maple flavor, even though the butter is salted. Just a little bit of salt. Yeah, halfway through, we're just going to brush it. Put it back in the oven. When it comes out, brush it again. Because why not? I think it is okay to experiment. Even if you want to put some spice in it, go ahead, put some spice. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat this with my maple butter, and that's gonna be my breakfast. It's just you just have to experiment. Honestly, you just have to make it work for you, and that's what I love about baking. Same thing with cooking. Doesn't have to be overly complicated. It can be very simple. You can make something delicious with 3 ingredients. Oh, but we have the cornbread, pumpkin cornbread, baking, and I'm excited. I really am. See, remember when I said that, level it off, make sure it's even to the best of your ability. And then once it bakes evenly across the board. Because if you actually put it in and it wasn't leveled properly, it'll look lopsided. Like try to level out, but it might have like, hills and valleys and you don't want that. Hey, Mr. Perfection. So if you see it, it just looks nice. No, you can't really see it much, but it's right there. It smells amazing. Okay? Smells amazing. Again, right before I popped it in the oven, I just touched it up with a little cinnamon sugar. That is gonna help with texture. Even though, some people like their cornbread with a nice smooth top, that's okay. This is sourdough. It's my first time making pumpkin sourdough cornbread. So you do whatever you want over here. We do whatever we want. We make it work. It smells amazing, by the way. This is gonna be, I think I'm proud of this. I do think I'm proud of this one. This one is like the hydration level is perfect considering this card has liquid, pumpkin puree has liquid, milk, sugar has moisture. What else do we maple syrup, melted butter, and vanilla extract all have moisture. It plays a part in your hydration level. So if you add too much or don't add enough, your product is off. It is off. But I'm happy for the one. I don't know what goes with cornbread. I don't know what people add to cornbread. I don't know. I can't even tell you to add nuts. Maybe, but it's cornbread. Maybe do like honey butter. But the pumpkin smell is coming through. It's good. I hope you're having a good day, Mr. Perfection. I know T's in a meeting right now, so she can't really talk. I believe Juliana's at work. This is me. But this is good. Next month, I have to think about what we considering. It's leading into Christmas. It's leading into American Thanksgiving. And it's just leading into the whole holiday vibes. Like, what can we make with what we have? Because I'm on a budget, so I'm not trying to be at the store 24/7 trying to figure out the fancy ingredients. Simple ingredients. Simple, simple, simple. This smells amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And it's baking out nicely. Oh, perfection. Now, my only thing is, after the 20 minutes, is it gonna start giving me some random air pockets? But we'll see. It really looks good. It looks level. The cinnamon sugar on top is doing its thing. Now we're gonna brush it. We're gonna brush it with the maple butter that I made. I mean, technically, it's not maple butter; it's maple syrup. But I think that's good. I think it's really, really, really good. It smells good. The color is looking good. Listen, okay, because this is it. I like to end on a good note for our bake-a-thons. We did pancakes, we did biscuits, we did flatbread, and we made biscotti yesterday. Biscottis were really delicious. I do have the second dough still. I am gonna make it for class when I come back, and then bake and cut. I'm gonna give that away. But it's exciting because I have an idea for Christmas. We're also going to be doing live stream on the Bake-a-thon. I feel like our Bake-a-thon might lead into just Christmas recipes from start to finish. I have a Bake-a-thon all month long, but we might have something, maybe 12 days of Christmas Bake-a-thon. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But wanted to like I'm also still working on my sourdough ebook. It is just like an introductory ebook. It's gonna be really simple ingredients, really simple recipes, but it's also for people who have been using sourdough, right? I am gonna create the sourdough or make your own starter based on what I did and document it on my channel. But we have Fred. Fred's been alive since of this year. And that's when I started sourdough baking. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. Okay. So I see some cracks coming through. Cornbread cracking. Okay. There we go. You're starting to see some cornbread cracks coming through. I love it. It's rising up. If you can see, there we go. But right, the cracks are coming through. It's looking good. Right? At the 18-minute mark, I think at the 15-minute mark, I'm gonna rotate, brush with butter and the maple, and then put it back in. Tell your grandmother I said hello. Oh, my class has been canceled. Interesting. Yay me. I just got the notification. But I don't have to be rushed anymore. I can 100% relax, which is good. Which is good. Okay. Then we're gonna have a fancy moment with cornbread. It's very interesting. The class just got canceled. But that's okay. It's a good thing. I already took my shower to leave and everything. But that's all right. I'm not mad at that. I'm honestly not. Okay, so smell wise, it's looking good. We're at 16 minutes. 15-minute mark. I am gonna take it out. Rotate. I have my Q-tips ready. Q-tips? Q-tips. Toothpicks. Oh my god. You know, my brain sees one thing and says another. What do we call that? Is that a thing? Okay. I see one number and I invert it to another. I see one thing and I connect it to another. Because why is that not a Q-tip, but it's a toothpick? See my dilemma? Issues. So we're gonna get our wire. Safety first. Safety first. If you don't have a wire rack, just use cardboard. Cardboard. Cutting board. She, but an actual board. Okay? Wood. Don't do plastic. Don't do anything that is gonna melt when the heat touches it. That's what I'm saying. Okay? This is it. Oh my goodness. My brain is just feeling like sometimes I feel I'm scattered with my brain. So I try to slow down my my speech so that my brain can catch up. The live streams have been helping me because when we first started, it was all over the place. Okay? All over. So I'm a little more settled, but it takes practice to just slow down and think about what I want to say before I actually say it, or else it's not gonna. Okay, to 15-minute mark. We're gonna pull this out because again, at the halfway point, it is about 20 to 30 minutes bake time. Yo, what are you doing? This is what we have. Okay. It is MC spraying. It's still a bit raw, I believe, on the inside. Where's the toothpicks? We're moving fast. Test. It is not still a bit moist. Moist is good. Some stuff still coming off, but we're gonna brush it with the maple butter. Brownie's a bit active today. This is maple syrup mixed in with a little melted butter, mixed in with a little salt to enhance the maple flavor. It is honestly going to give you some color, but it's also going to give you some flavor, an added flavor boost. And I'm brushing it lightly because I don't want to dent. I don't want to dent my product. I don't want to weigh it down either. If this was melted, you could have just poured it all over. That is also fine. Okay. You just need to do what you can. Okay. Focus. All right. Bonus here. This is just the remainder of the cinnamon sugar. It's optional, obviously. But it's looking good. It's smelling amazing. And most importantly, I trust the process. We're going to put it back sideways. And now you guys probably going to get a better vision. Visual. See what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. Maybe I didn't realize I was a bit behind on that. Refresh it. If you can refresh it, it'll probably reset it. Yeah. Sometimes it happens because I'm monitoring the stream right now. So sometimes it happens. So just refresh. And it should auto correct itself. So we have about 15, 14 more minutes left. I think by the 10-minute mark, it should be a good thing, as in ready. But this is what you have. And truly, I'm so, I'm actually happy my class got canceled today. Tomorrow, we're not going to talk about that. We might have a second live later today for Vlogtober, just so that we can catch up on all the things that I have coming up so that you guys already know. Because this is all about sourdough. Okay? Don't forget to vote, guys. Vote for what you want to see here in November. Because we're going to have a good time. Pumpkin everything, pumpkin always. October has been good to me and good to you guys. We've been having a good old time. We've been having a good old time, okay? A good old time. It is always, always. I am just checking. That's interesting. The notification said that we have a class cancellation. for the 10th of October. Today's the 17th. The 10th was last week. So is it canceled or not? Oh my God. Anyways, this is smelling good. That maple flavor is coming through. Oh, the maple flavor is coming through, honestly. Here for it. It is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Almost time. You can smell the maple. You can smell it. It is just gonna add just another layer of texture and flavor to your cornbread. And this is a pumpkin cornbread. And to be honest, maple syrup and pumpkin go together. Okay? They absolutely go together. 100% they go together. So you just, right now we're gonna head into the 10-minute mark. Again, it's either between 20, 25 to 30 minutes. You just gotta gauge what you have. You also have to gauge your oven because your oven might be a lot faster than mine. Mine might be slow. Like it's just different factors that come into play with the oven heat, right? And when your product is done. Because right now we're at the 10-minute mark, coming down to it. I am gonna check it again, insert my toothpick to ensure everything is evenly baked. There's no raw pockets. And I have a nice little spring. The bounce back is a good thing. You know, you always want to see a good bounce. It has the cornbread cracks that I enjoy seeing. I don't like a perfectly looking anything. I want things with character. Okay, perfection isn't real. Okay, we have 10 more minutes on this timer. I am gonna remove cornbread. Oh, this is beautiful. Beautiful, guys. This is beautiful. Look at this. This is beautiful. This is amazing. Spice filled, maple butter brushed. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, amazing. So we are just gonna do a little quality check just to ensure the product is baked all the way through. Using a toothpick, it's coming out clean. There's a nice little bounce back. It should not be dense. We might need a little time. I think maybe for the last 10 minutes, I might reduce the heat because we just want it to dry. Pockets that still have a little bit of wetness, right? So that's it. You just want to make sure. It might take the full 30 minutes, but not at the full 400. Small pocket here is actually giving me, see, that one's clear. Yeah, you just have to inspect it. Usually the edges bake first, and then the middle, it bakes like this. And it rotates until it comes into the middle. So the middle is where you might have some issues, right? It's just feeling like it's moist and not wet and raw. So I'm gonna do one more brush, put it back in, and I'm gonna leave it for the extra 10 minutes, but I am gonna turn the heat down from 400 to about 350. Because at this point, it's not about browning or anything. It's more about just making sure the insides are 100% cooked, not wet because they're raw, and we're good. It's gonna be moist. I think it looks good in theory, but I think the test will be when we cut it because there is a bounce. See, there's a little indent happening. Good. Looks amazing. Now, don't get me wrong. Adding maple syrup and also adding butter to it may cause it to still be a little wet. But this is what we have to take. And then we're gonna reduce the heat and just bake it out. Just bake it out ever so slightly. We don't wanna dry it out 100%, but you also wanna make sure your product is cooked. Okay? All right. I think this was a beautiful, 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 easy bake day. It's exciting because I am, again, not a cornbread maker, but I enjoy it. I enjoy baking with sourdough. I enjoy understanding what's going on. So we'll see. Now, I do have to do some maintenance on Cormia, but this is the final results that we have. We do know that once I bake and cool, I will show you the cut version once it's 100% cool. Because when you bake it and you cut it right after it comes out of the oven, it actually affects it. Okay. It messes with your product. You don't need that. You don't need that type of negative energy in your life. You do not. Okay. So we're just gonna let that run its course. The stream is looking good, and we should be fine. So right now, it looks like for the poll, we didn't get a lot of votes, but it looks like majority of the people who did vote, they are requesting a mixture of everything. So anything holiday, it doesn't matter. Pumpkin, sweet potato, carrots, cranberries, anything. It's just a mixture. Okay. So I think our baby is done. I think we're done. I think we're 100% done. Just gonna give it a countdown, 7 minutes. Gonna let it out. You have to do some maintenance just to ensure we always have a nice clear view, but product is done. Okay, we're gonna stop that, open, and show you. It has a nice color, amazing smell. It's beautiful. It really is. Now imagine if you made this into mini loaf pans, made this into cupcakes, anything. It is beautiful. This is our pumpkin cornbread made with sourdough. It was brushed with maple butter halfway through baking and also brushed coming down to the end. This was roughly baked for about 20 to 23 minutes. It's looking good, coming through clear, right? We have a little spring back, which is perfect. The top, before I baked it, I sprinkled some cinnamon sugar. Here, birdie. I think that's a blue jay. I sprinkled some cinnamon sugar, baked it, brushed it with maple butter, baked it again, and now we're here. You're going to get a range of color textures. The cinnamon sugar is going to give you a different set of colors and a different texture, but the butter and the maple syrup will soften everything. So you're not going to necessarily get a crunchy top. You're probably going to get a more firm, sticky top because of the maple syrup, but it's fine. There's a nice bounce back. This is beautiful. It smells like pumpkin. It smells like pumpkin spice. It smells amazing. Okay, so the true test will come once the light ends. This has to cool before I actually cut it. Okay, so as you know, it is going to be placed on community tab on my Instagram and also on my Facebook because we have to share this. All right, but I think we are good. This sourdough bake-a-thon was all about pumpkin. I do have all the videos in the playlist on my channel. You can check that out. It's amazing. We walk through step by step how to do something, how to autocorrect, how to change it, make it work. Use what you have to make something delicious. Okay? We are going to have another bake-a-thon coming up in November. And based on the poll, which I'm going to end, we're going to do a little bit of everything. It's going to be a mixture of pumpkin, apple, sweet potato, cranberries, anything that's holiday, carrots even. We're going to try to make different things with our sourdough discard. Okay. Tomorrow we are going to resume our October live stream. But as for the bake-a-thon, we're good. We had a good time, pumpkin everything. I will again cut this when it's cooled, share it with you on my channel. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. All of you, appreciate it. Every last one of you. I appreciate you all. Was successful in my eyes because we didn't really have any failures. So we will be back here next month for Bake-a-thon in November. Okay. That is it for day number 5. We are done. Okay. Pumpkin cornbread. Delicious. Right? That is it for this video and this live stream. If you do watch the replay, just let me know where you're watching from. Shout outs. Okay. And if you came along the live journey with me every single day for 5 days, I appreciate you guys. All right. So that is it. And I will see you back here tomorrow for our regular programming.